Every morning, two paths sit in front of you. Sleep in and dream about the life you want. Or get up and go build it. Simple as that. But here is what is interesting. Most people think that choice happens once. It doesn't. It happens every single morning. And the version of you that wins that argument against the pillow, that version becomes who you are. Most people lose before the day starts. 5 more minutes becomes 10. 10 becomes 20. By the time they're vertical, they're already chasing the clock, already behind, already in reaction mode. And they call that a morning. That is not a morning, that is a surrender. No, I get it. The bed is warm. Sleep feels good. Nobody is naturally excited to face the cold floor at 5 a.m. But the people who built something, really built something, they didn't let comfort make their decisions. They woke up early not because it was pleasant, but because the early morning is the one window in the day where the world hasn't started asking things of you yet. That window is yours. The question is whether you use it. So let's talk about how the mindset, the habits, the whole thing. Stay with me. One, what the early morning actually is. There is a particular kind of quiet that exists before 6 a.m. No, just the absence of noise, something different. The world hasn't loaded yet. No alerts, no demands, no one needing anything from you. Just you and however much time you decided to give yourself. Most people never feel that. They sleep through it. They treat the morning like an obstacle between them and their day, when really it is the most valuable real estate they have. It's the only time in a 24-hour period when you are genuinely, completely in charge of what happens next. Think about the average morning for the average person. Alarm goes off. Phone comes out. Notifications, news, social media, all of it pouring in before you've even sat up straight. By the time they walk out the door, their mental energy is already spent on things that don't matter. They didn't decide what to focus on. The phone decided for them. No, picture something different. You wake up before that noise begins. You stretch, you hydrate, you spend 15 minutes thinking about what you actually want from the day. You are not reacting, you are leading. Before the world has a chance to set your agenda, you've already set it yourself. That is the real advantage of waking up early. Now, extra hours, control. The early riser is already 3 moves ahead, while everyone else is still loading the morning. And over months and years, that gap becomes enormous. Here is the other thing nobody talks about. Your brain is sharpest early, before meetings, before stress, before the 100 small decisions that drain your cognitive resources. Your mind is fresh. Some of the most important thinking you'll ever do happens when it is still dark outside. Ideas, clarity, real strategic thought. The people who know this protect those hours like money. If you've never tried it, 1 week is all it takes. Wake up before the world. Step outside. Stand in the quiet. You'll feel something shift, a kind of clarity that the rest of the day simply cannot offer. Once you feel it, you'll understand why people who do this don't want to stop. What to actually do with those hours. Waking up early for the sake of being awake is just being tired. The point isn't the hour, it is what you build inside it. Plenty of people get up at 5 a.m. and immediately open Instagram. That is not a morning routine. That is insomnia with extra steps. The people who win with their mornings have a structure. No, a complicated one. 3 things in order: activate your body, feed your mind, direct your day. Master those 3 and you've built the most powerful hour of your life. Start with the body. This isn't about becoming an athlete. It is about waking the machine up properly. Muhammad Ali ran before sunrise. No, to be dramatic about it, because he understood that physical activation changes your mental state. Movement in the morning wires your brain for focus. It tells your nervous system that today is a day of action. Not waiting. Even 10 minutes of stretching or a short walk does something. Your muscles wake up, your blood moves, your mind follows, then the mind, what you feed your brain in the first hour shapes how you think for the rest of the day. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors alive, reads for hours before he does anything else. He calls it compounding knowledge. You don't need to read for 3 hours. But 15 minutes of something genuinely useful, a book, an insightful article, something that expands how you see things, that is 15 minutes that pays you back all day. Compare that to 15 minutes of doom scrolling. One of those fills your mind with things worth thinking about. The other fills it with noise. Eye reading isn't your thing, right? Thomas Edison kept journals of his ideas every morning. No polished essays. Raw thoughts, problems he was chewing on, observations, goals. The act of writing moves ideas from vague feelings in your head to concrete things you can work with. You'd be surprised how much clarity comes from 5 minutes on a page. Then plan the day. No, a long process. 5 minutes, maybe 10. What actually matters today? What are the 2 or 3 things that, if you get them done, Oprah does this. Before the cameras, before the course, she sets her intention. She decides what kind of day this is going to be before the day has a chance to decide for her. That is a system. Move, learn, plan. It doesn't take 2 hours. If you have 30 to 60 minutes and you protect them, the results will be obvious within weeks. No, because any one morning changes your life, but because 50 of them in a row, absolutely. Well, 3. The mindset that makes it stick, waking up early, is a statement. No, one you make to anyone else, one you make to yourself. It says, I am choosing how I spend my time. I am not just reacting to whatever the day throws at me. I am going first. That sounds simple. It isn't. Because every morning, the mind will give you reasons to stay put. It is cold. You are tired. Yesterday was hard. You deserve the rest. And these arguments are convincing at 5 a.m. in the dark. They sound very reasonable. That is exactly the problem. The difference between early risers and everyone else isn't motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you'll feel like getting up. Most mornings you won't, waiting for motivation to show up before acting, is how people spend years not changing anything. What early risers have instead is discipline. A decision made in advance that doesn't require negotiations every morning. Steve Jobs used to start his day with a single question in the mirror. If today were my last day, would I be proud of what I am about to do? No, to be morbid about it. As a filter, a way to cut out everything that doesn't matter and focus only on what does. That question resets your priorities fast. Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL commander, gets up at 4:30 a.m. He doesn't do it because it is enjoyable. He does it because he knows that by the time most people are bargaining with their alarms, he is already trained. Plan and build a lead that nobody can close. His whole philosophy is that discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is what creates it. You want to feel free in your life. Build discipline in your morning. The key is understanding that discipline is trained. You don't wake up one day with it, you build it one morning at a time. Every time the alarm rings and you get up anyway, you are not just starting your day, you are voting for the kind of person you are becoming. You are training the muscle, and that muscle gets stronger every single time you use it. This is why the military elite athletes, high-performance CEOs, they all have structured mornings. It is not coincidence they know that how you start shapes everything that follows. The standard of your morning becomes the standard of your life. And here is something people miss. Waking up early isn't only about productivity. It is about having time that belongs to you before the world starts making claims on it. Maya Angelou would wake before dawn and write in solitude for hours before anything else could interfere. That quiet wasn't wasted time. It was the source. The well she drew from, everything she created came from protecting those hours. So the question becomes, what do you want to build? What are you working toward? Because if you are serious about it, you need to stop waiting for perfect conditions and start showing up early for your own life. Nobody is born a morning person. That is a decision people make and then repeat until it becomes who they are. It is available to anyone, including you, for why silence in the morning is a weapon. The word is loud festooned. By 8 a.m. on any given weekday, most people have already absorbed a dozen interruptions and haven't produced a single original thought. The notifications on them before they've had coffee, but there is a window early, quiet before all of that starts, where real thinking happens. No, the kind of thinking you do in response to a message or in the middle of a meeting. Deep thinking. The kind where you actually hear yourself. Einstein took long walks in the morning. No, as exercise, as thinking. He needed stillness to find the ideas that lived underneath the surface noise. He said the monotony and quiet of a solitary life was what stimulated his mind. His most important work didn't come from busy rooms. Came from long. People confuse solitude with loneliness. They're completely different things. Loneliness is something that happens to you. Solitude is something you choose. It is not about being isolated. It is about being with your own thoughts long enough to actually know what they are. Leonardo da Vinci wrote that when you are alone, you belong entirely to yourself. The moment someone else is present, that changes in the early morning. Before the world arrives, you belong entirely to yourself. That is rare. It is also incredibly powerful. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They feel it immediately. Music, podcast, phone. No, because they're enjoying those things, but because they're avoiding the quiet. And in avoiding the quiet, they avoid the most productive mental state they have access to. Silence is where you confront what you are actually thinking, where you figure out what you want, where the good ideas come from. Kobe Bryant didn't just train early because of the hours. He trained in silence because the focus that comes with an empty gym at 4 a.m. is different from any other focus. No audience, no distractions, just him and the work. He called it being alone with his thoughts. That solitude wasn't just time. It was competitive advantage. You don't need to be Kobe or Einstein to use this. Even 15 minutes of genuine quiet in the morning changes how you enter your day. Sit without the phone. Write what is on your mind. Breathe. Let the noise settle before you invite it back in. Mahatma Gandhi did this every morning. Sat in silence before facing whatever that day held, which, given what he was doing, was usually quite a lot. He said he couldn't lead if he hadn't first centered himself. The same logic applies to you, even if you are not leading a revolution. You can't lead your day if the day started before you did. The practice is simple. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier. Put the phone face down. Just be in the morning for a while. No input, no output. Journal if you want. Walk slowly. Sit with coffee and actually think. You'll be surprised what your own mind has to say when you give it a chance to talk. Solitude isn't withdrawal from life. It is preparation for it. It is how you show up to everything else. Sharper, steadier, more deliberate. the world will make plenty of noise. The question is whether you get to think before it does. 5. What successful people actually do in the morning? Success doesn't arrive randomly. Look closely at anyone who's built something real, and you'll find a pattern, not in their talent or their luck, but in the structure of their days. Specifically, the beginning of them, Benjamin Franklin started every morning with one question. What good shall I do today? Before work, before conversation, before anything. He gave his day a purpose. Then he read, planned, and moved. His success wasn't just intelligence. It was a result of daily discipline applied consistently for decades. Howard Schultz, who built Starbucks into a global company, wakes at 4:30 a.m., works out, reflects, reviews his goals, drinks coffee while thinking about what the day requires. By the time most people are still deciding whether to snooze again, he is already clear on what he is doing and why. Barack Obama worked out every morning during his presidency without exception. No, because he had extra time. He had less time than almost anyone. He did it because he understood that physical discipline is mental discipline. The energy required to run a country doesn't come from nowhere. It has to be built daily before the demands start. Bill Gates reads every morning, has for decades. Now email books, articles, ideas from outside his immediate world. He believes that curiosity is a skill and skills need practice. If someone who has already achieved that level of success still makes time to learn every morning, the case for the rest of us is pretty clear. Gandhi meditated in silence first. No matter how significant the movement around him grew, no matter what crisis was unfolding, he sat in stillness before he did anything else. He said he couldn't lead if he wasn't centered, and he was right. Arnold Schwarzenegger visualized before the gym, before the competition, before Hollywood. He saw it first. Every morning he would picture exactly where he was going. And what it looked like when he got there, he didn't wait for success to feel real. He made it feel real first, then went and found it. No, you don't need to copy any of these people exactly. The point isn't to steal someone else's morning. The point is to build one that works for yours. The structure matters more than the specific content. Wake up with a purpose. Move your body. Even briefly, give your mind something worth consuming. Sit with your goals for a few minutes before the reactive part of the day begins. That is it. Start with 1 or 2 habits. No. 6, pick what resonates and do it consistently. The routine will grow on its own. What matters is that it is yours, it is intentional, and you protect it. Success isn't built in moments of inspiration. It is built in the accumulation of mornings where you showed up for yourself before anyone else needed you to show up for them. 6, how to actually get up when everything in you says, here is where it gets honest. All of this is well and good in the afternoon. But at 5 a.m. when the alarm goes off and it is dark and the bed is warm and your body hasn't agreed to any of this yet, the theory means nothing. The battle is real, and most people lose it before the day starts. So let's talk about why and what to do about it. The first excuse people reach for is, I am just not a morning person. This is one of the most effective excuses because it sounds like a fact. It isn't. There's no morning person gene. Dwayne Johnson wakes at 4 a.m. Do you think he leaps out of bed excited about it? He doesn't. He does it because he has trained himself to act before his feelings get a vote. That is it. No personality training. The bigger problem for most people isn't the morning. It is the night before. You cannot stay up until 1 and watching television and then genuinely expect to feel good at 6. Sleep isn't something you sacrifice for productivity. It is productivity. Tim Cook wakes at 3:45 a.m. His secret isn't willpower, it is a consistent bedtime. He treats sleep as infrastructure, not laziness. If you want to win the morning, you have to design the night. Set a real bedtime. An hour before it, start winding down. Dim the lights, put the screen away. Let your nervous system under sleep is coming. Your body isn't being difficult. It responds to signals. Give it the right ones. Then there is the grogginess problem. You wake up feeling like you haven't slept at all and use that as evidence that your body needs more time. Here is the truth. That feeling called sleep inertia happens to everyone, including people who've done this for years. The difference is they don't negotiate with it. The moment the alarm goes off, they sit up. Fit on the floor, done. That is the rule. No lying there deciding. Because lying there deciding means losing. Put your phone or whatever your alarm is across the room. Make the snooze button a physical journey. By the time you've walked over there and turned it off, you're already up. That is often all it takes. The deeper issue is having no reason to get up. And this is the one people underestimate. If tomorrow morning holds nothing but obligations, emails, tasks, other people's demands, your brain will find staying horizontal very reasonable. But if there's something in the morning that you genuinely want to do, a workout, you actually like 30 minutes on a project that excites you, good coffee and a book you are into, your body will cooperate much more willingly. Richard Branson wakes at 5 a.m. and starts with things he enjoys. He exercises, spends time with family, moves through the morning at his own pace. His morning isn't just functional. It is something he looks forward to. Make yours something worth waking up for. And if you've tried all this before and quit after 3 days, don't make a dramatic change. If you currently wake at 8, don't set an alarm for 5. Move it 15 minutes earlier, then another 15 the following week. Let the habit build at a pace. Your biology can handle the pace. Or slow progress that sticks beats aggressive progress that collapses. Finally, tell someone, put it on record. Accountability is underrated. When you know someone might ask whether you got up, the bet loses a little of its power. Use that. The war with the alarm clock is decided the night before in what you eat when you sleep and what you decide to put in the morning. That makes it worth fighting for. Make those decisions consciously, and the morning stops being the enemy. 7. Why the first hour shapes everything that follows. A strong morning doesn't just give you a good start. It changes the entire arc of the day. This is the ripple effect where one good decision in the morning generates another and another until the whole day has a different quality than it would have otherwise. Think about 2 people who wake up at the same time. The first reaches for the phone immediately, scrolls for 20 minutes, then rushes through getting ready with a mind of they start the day behind and stay behind. The second puts the phone down, stretches, drinks water. It takes 5 minutes to think about what the day requires. They walk into it with clarity. By noon, the gap between those 2 people is already significant. Not because of intelligence or resources, but because of how the morning was handled. Margaret Thatcher woke at 5 a.m. every day. Not to work more hours, to think before the noise started. That extra thinking time translated into sharper decisions. When the pressure came, she didn't just know more facts than the people across the table. She'd had more time to organize her thinking before sitting down. Admiral William McRavensley told university graduates, if you want to change the world, start by making your bed. Not because a made bed changes the world, because the act of completing something small and tangible first thing in the morning creates a sense of accomplishment that carries forward. One small win leads to another. The momentum is real even when the task is trivial. Haruki Murakami runs every morning before he writes, "No." To get in shape, to clear the channel. He found that physical movement in the morning removed whatever mental debris had accumulated overnight, leaving him sharper and more original when he sat down to work. Movement as preparation, not just exercise. And then there's mindset. If you begin the morning by absorbing negativity, bad news, other people's arguments, the internet's anxiety, you carry that tone into everything you do. But if you start with something that grounds you, gratitude, a clear goal, a few minutes of stillness, you prime your brain for a different kind of day. Maya Angelou sat in quiet solitude every morning before she wrote. That wasn't delay, that was the word. The other thing the ripple effect touches is the people around you. You bring an energy, every room you enter. If you've started the day in chaos and stress, that is what you carry into your meetings, your family, your conversations. If you've started grounded and intentional, that comes with you too. Energy is contagious. The morning determines which kind you are spreading. Winston Churchill was deliberate about his mornings, especially wartime. Perhaps especially during wartime. He understood that leaders who start the day scattered make scattered decisions. He used those early hours to think clearly, to read, to prepare, and then he walked into the most difficult decisions imaginable with something that looked a lot like composure. You don't need to be running a country. Whether you are a student, a parent, a business owner, or someone trying to build something from scratch, your morning is where you either set yourself up or let yourself down. The work you do in those first hours compounds? No. Just in productivity, but in who you become through the habit of showing up for yourself before anyone else needs you. So, are you giving those first hours to other people's content, other people's problems, the path of least resistance, or are you using that window for yourself? Your goals, your growth every morning is an opening. Some people walk through it, most don't even notice it. Here is where we land. You've been thinking about this for a while now. The early morning, the rituals, the mindset, the ripple effect, you understand why it matters. So the question isn't why anymore. The question is whether you are actually going to do anything differently tomorrow. Because tomorrow morning the alarm goes off and nothing in this conversation will be in the room with you. Just you and the choice. Snooze or get up. The people who build things, not the loudest, not necessarily the smartest, but the ones who actually move, they've made peace with that moment. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't negotiate. They get up and they use the time and they do it again the next day and the day after that until the life they were building starts to look recognizable. You don't need to flip your entire life upside down by Thursday. Wake up 15 minutes earlier, put your phone across the room, move your body before you look at a screen. Spend 5 minutes deciding what today is actually for. Give yourself one real reason to get up that isn't an obligation. It won't feel natural at first. Nothing worth building does, but somewhere around day 4 or 5, something shifts. The morning stops feeling like a fight and starts feeling like yours. The quiet before the word load starts to feel like the best part of the day. And then you don't want to give it back. 7 days, that is the challenge. 7 mornings of getting up with intention, protecting that first hour, and seeing what it does to everything else. If it doesn't change how you feel and how you perform, you've lost nothing but a little sleep, but I think you'll find something different. I think you'll find that the clarity, the control, the momentum, it was always available. You just had to get up early enough to claim it. The life you want doesn't start later. It starts tomorrow morning. The only question is whether you'll be awake for it.